No joke, the King girl shrugged. It was the mayor's idea. Kaitlin glanced at Lindsay, who put up her hands in protest. Hey, I can't be held accountable for my brother. I'm just related to him. Elvis wanted to sniff everything as they made their way the 100 feet or so from the table to the starting line. Chalk lines had been added to the car race track, marking a rectangle with the start and finish lines on each end, makeshift waist-high barriers along the longer sides, and lanes drawn up the middle. It made Kaitlin smile to think about the probability of the dogs actually staying in those pretty little lanes. At the far end of the rectangle, she found lane 4, Elvis's starting position, and glanced at her watch. 10:10. They still had 20 minutes until race time. Elvis sat on his rump and looked up at her with soulful eyes. Unable to resist, she bent down and gave him a love. You are the cutest dog ever. He is, and it is so good to see you back in town, Kaitlin Hartley. Kaitlin turned and got out, Candy, before being swept into a hug. Candy Kane owned Candy's Cafe, the place Kaitlin loved to hang out, and so did half the town. She reminded Kaitlin of Doris Day in her heyday, with streaked blonde hair curving gently about her face. She had to be in her mid-40s and probably weighed 20 or 30 pounds more than she had in her 20s, but she looked stylish. Have you seen Joshua yet? Candy asked. Not yet, Kaitlin said, forcing a smile and changing the subject. Do you have a dog in the race? Candy shook her head. I'm looking for Sonnet Cassidy. She's the official photographer for the race. I haven't seen Sonnet in forever. I thought she was living with her parents. She's moved here, and her father's not happy about it. Candy smiled. But your parents seem to be happy with you being in New York for school, even though they missed you. Are you done now? Yep. Took my certification test last week. And you accepted the job at Costa Architecture? Kaitlin nodded. My dream design job. Be sure to bring some of your designs on over to the cafe, okay? Kaitlin said, I will, and turned back to Elvis. It took a few extra minutes for both Kaitlin and Lindsay to stuff his long body into the hot dog costume because of his excited wiggling and his wagging tail. Then they stood back to get a good look. Pieces of bun ran along each flank, with Elvis's body being the actual hot dog portion of the costume, with a ribbon of ketchup squiggled along the top, which covered the triangle-shaped white marking on the fur of his dark brown back. As if he'd had enough excitement, he sat himself down again. Kaitlin looked down on her little dog and crooned, You're the cutest little hound dog ever. He looks more hangdog than hound dog, Lindsay teased, and then spoke to the little dog. But you look really handsome, Elvis, really. You are definitely the manliest hot dog on this track. Lindsay looked over at Kaitlin. Are you sure dachshunds are really hound dogs? Yes, they are, Kaitlin nodded. I don't think he likes the costume. He'd probably rather be in a sequined jumpsuit. Kaitlin scratched behind her dog's ears. He tipped his head and closed his eyes. But you sure like this, don't you, boy? Maybe he needs some blue suede shoes or something, Lindsay said. And then her voice rose. Oh, no. What? Kaitlin looked up in surprise. Lindsay pointed down the line. There, double trouble. Holding the end of Elvis's leash, Kaitlin stood and searched the crowd where her friend was pointing. What she saw at the far end of the starting line sucked her breath away. After a moment of stunned silence, she whispered, Oh, no, is that Joshua? Worse, Ethan. The bum is helping Joshua. I don't believe this. I'll be back before the race starts. I'm going to go give him a piece of my mind. Maybe it's time for him to choose between me and Joshua. And Kaitlin's emotionally volatile friend shot off toward her unsuspecting boyfriend. Kaitlin's heart pounded. Joshua Moore. The one man she didn't want to run into in Aspen Grove, especially not when she'd only been back in town for 1 week. Give it a month or two, another year, and maybe she could handle it. Maybe. But not like this. Not so unexpectedly. Frozen in place, Kaitlin watched as Lindsay rounded on Ethan.